So what do you do when you feel like your marriage is shipwrecked? You're out there in the middle of the ocean and you're floating with the sharks and you're wondering where the kids are and the waves are coming in and the water's cold. What do you do? There's four questions I think that you have to ask yourself, because eventually you're going to get back on board a ship, because life can't just be lived floating in the water. Four questions I think that you've got to ask yourself. One is, how did we get here? When a shipwreck happens, of course, we're looking to survive. And of course, that makes sense. We're in the ocean. We're flailing for anything to float on. But how did we get here? At some point, we need to pause. And when you find something to float on, and you probably need someone else to pick you up in their boat, but at some point to be able to say, okay, how did we get here? That may not be a question that you answer, first of all, with your spouse, but to talk about with someone else. How did me and my spouse get to this place? Because it's very hard to move forward in life without really understanding the anatomy, if you will, of how we shipwrecked our life. The last thing you want to do is try again this thing called marriage and get on board with somebody else and wonder, okay, is it just going to happen again? So knowing how we got there helps us to move forward in life, either with our spouse or just speaking in general, how you're going to move forward. Secondly, this is a gutsy question, but what role did I play in this mess? When things don't go right in life, human instinct is, I want to find the person to blame. I want to find the person to point the finger at, because this couldn't have been me. Especially when out there in the ocean, your kids are being impacted. Nobody wants to think that they are doing something or have done something that's going to cause a negative impact on their kids. Even our spouse that we're so upset at, we don't want to know that, am I the one that's caused them the heartache that they now have? This is a scary question to ask. But for us to move forward and be the person we were made to be on planet Earth, we have to be able to ask this gutsy question, what role did I play in this mess? Because everyone has a role. Maybe someone else caused it, but I still had a role in it. Maybe I did something that caused them to cause the shipwreck. Scary thought, I know. But if you want to move forward in life, we have to be willing to look at these gutty questions. Number 3, ask yourself this question: what have I become as a person? Shipwreck has a way of changing us. There's a certain way that we think when we're on board that ship and we're going about our life, and maybe we're excited, maybe we have a sense of joy, maybe a sense of freedom, but then something goes wrong and we're shipwrecked. It might shipwreck our thinking for the rest of our life if we're not careful. We might live the rest of our life more afraid of shipwreck than we are excited about where we are going. This is why it is so critical that we're willing to ask the question, what have I become? Because if this shipwreck has changed me, I need to know I need to be able to reorient myself to being the person I was made to be. I don't want to live the rest of my life afraid of shipwreck and lose sight of the people in my life and the destinations I was pursuing. And the fourth question, I challenge you to ask if you feel like your marriage is shipwrecked, is this: is divorce going to solve the problem? Divorce is a very hard thing to do for anybody. Nobody wants to get divorced. We feel like we get trapped in it. We feel like we get pushed into it to where there's no choice. Divorce doesn't solve our problems. It might even create more problems than we had before. And I wish that wasn't true. But history and people have proven it over and over again that divorce can make us leave one problem and walk into three more. So is divorce the answer? When life has shipwrecked you in the area of marriage, I want to encourage you that there is hope. Because when shipwreck happens, this can bring us to an opportunity for change. We can use this awful situation to change the rest of our life. Maybe the person I was that caused the shipwreck in some way, what if I was going to live the rest of my life being that way? What if this shipwreck causes me to see myself and who I really was as a person? What if I can change? Maybe my marriage can be restored and be different than it ever was. Maybe we can have something together that we never had before. Maybe I can live the rest of my life differently and not be a person that causes shipwreck. I want to encourage you that when shipwreck happens, it can be turned into opportunity for your future. There's one word I want to encourage you with that'll be hard to understand. I don't have time to break this whole thing down in this video. But when life takes you to shipwreck, it's a very dangerous place. You can't control the sharks, and you can't control the waves, and you can't control how the ocean impacts your kids and everyone else in your life. There's something you can do, and that is surrender. When shipwreck happens, we want to fight, fight, fight. But what if we surrender? What if we have a heart to surrender and ask some of these challenging questions of ourselves so that the rest of our life can be impacted for the good because of this shipwreck, instead of the rest of our life maybe being spent in the dark waters of the ocean? There is hope, my friend. Try surrender.